Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at Alcremie VMAX. I like Alcremie VMAX. I am a big fan of Alcremie VMAX. Now, I don't think it's going to be particularly good, mind you. I think it's going to be fun and opens up so many options. But you see, the thing is, somebody over in Japan has gone and done a win with Alcremie VMAX. So I think we need to start taking it a little bit seriously. Also worth bearing in mind that this is the first deck I've actually seen that plays Celebi Amazing Rare and actually does good stuff with it, which is kind of cool. Now, starting off with Alcremie VMAX, remember this is confirmed as coming in Champion's Path. I mean, Alcremie V we don't need to spend much time on at all. It's not particularly good. It does have free energy, 100 damage. If the defending Pokemon is a basic, it can't attack during your opponent's next turn. But then by the same token, all they need to do is switch, or retreat, or evolve, and they will get round it. It's not to say you'll never use the attack. The attack could be quite good, but it is to say the attack is unlikely to be particularly useful in every game. But moving on to the VMAX, we've got single colorless energy for each of your bench Pokemon. Search your deck for a basic psychic energy, attach it to that Pokemon, and shuffle your deck. Well, that's pretty gosh darn good. That we like quite a lot. Gets lots of energy on the field. Admittedly, it is for a VMAX, which is kind of awkward. But then for 2 energy minimum, you discard any number of energy from your Pokemon, and its attack does 60 damage for each card discarded in this way. So if you can get enough energy on the field, you can discard it all and just go absolutely nuts doing a huge amount of damage. And that's the hook of Alcremie. The hook of Alcremie is, let's go a little bit nuts, getting as much energy on the field as we can, and then smashing anything. Okay, sounds like fun. The thing is, we need a way to get the energy on, and that's where my boy Porygon Z comes in. I should say a massive shout out to Code64X over on Twitter for hooking us up with the deck list. And I love Porygon, and I love this Porygon Z, and I want this Porygon Z to be good. What it essentially allows you to do is just attach as much energy, as long as it's special, from your hand to your Pokemon during your turn as you like. You can just accelerate as much special energy as you like during your turn. It's very cool. Lots of special energy on the field. And remember, when you're talking about Alcremie, you don't have to be discarding psychic energy, basic energy, any of that. It is any energy that you like. Oh. And that's what makes a big difference here, ladies and gentlemen. And that's basically the hook of the deck. You're using Porygon to accelerate as much special energy as you possibly can, and then you're using Alcremie to discard that energy and absolutely smash. And that is the basics of the deck. Now, I should mention there is one thing that really hurts this going into the rotation, and that is Zebstrika. This is a Zebstrika deck. Well, it's not a Zebstrika deck, but it uses Zebstrika as the draw engine, and Zebstrika is rotating. It's the only real part of the deck that is. I mean, there's one energy, but it's easily replaced. But this is the one thing we're going to lose when we hit rotation. There are other draw engines, there are other things we can do, but being able to discard your hand and draw 4 cards does give you a huge amount of speed, such that you can actually get your Alcremie and you can draw into your energy and attach it with Porygon and all of that. You have been warned. Though it is very interesting to note, this deck does not play Rare Candy, which means that what you're actually going to be doing is manually evolving from Porygon up through Porygon Z, and that means that it's going to take a couple of turns to get rolling, which is kind of interesting. Hey, would this be a nice time to start talking about Celebi Amazing Rare? The Amazing Rare that I've gone on record a few times and said I don't particularly like, and one that actually, maybe it's better than I'm giving it credit for. You see, for 1 lightning, 1 psychic energy, for each of your bench Pokemon, search your deck for a card that evolves from that Pokemon and put it on top of it to evolve it, and then shuffle your deck. Well, hang on a second. That means all of your Porygon become Porygon 2. All of your Porygon 2 become Porygon Z. All of your Alcremie become Alcremie VMAX. All of your Blitzle become Zebstrika. Oh. And we're not playing any energy acceleration before Porygon Z hits the field, but it means you get an energy on Celebi turn 1, and then by turn 2, you're off and rolling, evolving all of your Pokemon with Celebi. Now, it does have an attack for a single energy that does 30 damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, and you're rarely going to get giant KOs using that, admittedly, but it still will be useful here and there for getting some damage, finishing off some Pokemon. You'll use it occasionally. But most of the time, Celebi's going, look, you've got an evolution-heavy deck. Don't be upset about that. I've got your back. For 2 energy, it's probably not a turn 1 option, but it can still get you rolling a lot faster. Oh yeah, and then there is 1 copy of Oranguru here. Lets you swap the top card of your deck for a card in your hand. Nice little bit of consistency. Now, in terms of energy, the obvious one here is Recycle Energy. It goes to your hand when you discard it. And you can attach it as often as you like with Porygon Z. So essentially here what you do is you accelerate lots of energy with Porygon. You discard your recycle energy as a priority. And when you discard your recycle energy, it goes back to your hand so you can reattach it with Porygon Z next turn. Would you look at that? Speed energy becomes an absolute must here. It's also a really good reason why we play Zebstrika, which, again, will hurt when the rotation comes, but you can play any lightning Pokemon to activate this. It doesn't have to be this. Remember, Alcremie discards from any of your Pokemon to do the extra damage, but Speed Energy only lets you draw 2 cards when you attach it if you attach it to a lightning Pokemon. So, very, very much worth here, making sure there is a lightning Pokemon in your deck, even if it doesn't end up being Zebstrika. And then you attach it and draw 2 cards. It gives you extra speed. It's pretty gosh darned awesome. We play Horror Energy here because Alcremie, now that fairy Pokemon don't exist, is a psychic Pokemon. And when it's got Horror Energy attached and it gets attacked, you pop 2 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. It's extra damage. It's good. We do then play Unit Energy here, which will count as Lightning Energy for Celebi, and it is worth pointing out, you don't draw 2 cards when you attach a Speed Energy to Celebi, but you still do get to count it as a Lightning Energy, which is very important. But it also counts as Metal Energy, and it counts as Psychic Energy, i.e. it will pay either of Celebi's costs. You can just play Aurora Energy. And I know you got to discard a card from your hand, and I know this is rotating and blah, 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 but this is a deck where you're often discarding a bunch of stuff with Zebstrika anyway, so you can play Aurora Energy. It's not the biggest loss ever. And honestly, in terms of trainer cards here, there aren't very many. It is all about getting set up and getting the right Pokemon in the active. We got 4 copies of Quick Ball. That searches out any of your basics. That's pretty gosh darn good. We got 4 copies of Pokemon Communication. Swaps a Pokemon in your hand for a Pokemon in your deck. That's pretty gosh darn good. We've got 3 copies of Marnie. Lets you shuffle your hand and your opponent, put them on the bottom of your deck. You get 5 cards, your opponent gets 4. Nice shuffle draw with a bit of disruption. You also play a copy of Cynthia here, which lets you get a new hand of 6 cards, which could be pretty gosh darn good. We've got a couple Professor Magnolia. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards. Or Professor's Research Magnolia. Not as bad as it is in most Stage 2 decks, because of course you're not relying on rare candy, though you can sometimes end up actually losing your Stage 1 and Stage 2s, and it's worth noting there's no Pokemon Recovery in this list. We do actually play a copy of Great Ball as well for a little bit of extra Pokemon search. Might as well pop that one in here. We got 2 Boss's Orders to grab bench Pokemon, bring them active and KO them. That's pretty gosh darn important. And then we've got 2 copies of the new Bird Keeper card. That is a switch where you draw 3. It's draw power, but it's also a switch. Bearing in mind you want to get Celebi Amazing Rare into the active to evolve, but then you want to get it out of the active so you can attack with Alcremie. We play a copy of Actual Switch, and we play 2 copies of Air Balloon, because it really is important in this deck. You cannot be a turn behind. You need to get Celebi in the active when you want to use the ability, and then Celebi out of the active when you're finished using the ability. That's extremely important. I say ability, I mean attack. You know what I mean. the ability to evolve your Pokemon through attacks. Boom. In some ways, it's a very straightforward deck. You look at the trainer line here, there really isn't much to it. But in other ways, you've got Alcremie and Porygon, and the thing is, right, if you're playing a Porygon Z deck, do bear in mind that you can play whatever special energy you like, and you can go a bit stupid nuts teching. You have been warned. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to know what you think about this deck. I'm a fan of this deck because I love Porygon. I'm not entirely convinced about Alcremie, but I think if you're going to be playing it, this is probably the way to go. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel. Well, go nuts, be nice, you know the deal. Follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.